Toronto condos in C01 went up month over month from September to October. What does that even mean? Before we get started, I'd love to hear your comments down below on what you think about the new numbers and if those October numbers were surprising to you. As always, if you ever wanted to book in a call with me, hit the link in the description down below, book into my calendar anytime. We take a look at the chart for C01 in Toronto for a single family townhouse and apartment. You can see here apartments did go up in value from September to October, but what does that even mean? On the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board website, you can take a look at what we call Market Watch. And this is a lengthy report that breaks down every single community and area in Toronto. Super easy to Google, and you can see a lot of data points. If we take a look here at the city of Toronto, it is divided by Toronto West, Toronto Central, and Toronto East. In this chart, you'll be able to see the amount of total sales for all of TREB areas. You'll be able to see the city of Toronto as a whole. And then you'll also be able to see the different data points for West, Central, and East. And I know you're probably sitting there like, this is a lot of information and what does this mean? We're going to get into it, but there's a couple things I want you guys to take a look at here, and you can see the average price and median price. A couple things that really stand out for the city of Toronto. There were 888 sales in October, but 3,000 active listings. And it's really important that if you are taking a look at this data, to take a look at different areas specifically. So Toronto Central, we could see here in the downtown core, which is central, of course. Toronto C01, 181 sales and 809 active listings. So essentially about 2 out of 8 properties are selling, or about 25%. So let's take a look at these numbers. And this is why right now in today's current market, it's really important to pinpoint specific markets and specific home types. So if you are looking for an apartment in C01, you can see here that on average from September to October, it went up 1.9%. In C08, on average from September to October, we were down 1.7%. So let's jump into the percentages of these sub areas. And we can see here the Bay Street corridor led the way, up 7.2%. And this is definitely playing a factor here in the increase for month over month for C01. The other areas were kind of hovering either down 2% or up 1 to 2%. And you can see that every single area is performing differently. So it's important to note that if you are shopping these days, to really pinpoint micro areas to know exactly where you're looking for. And not to mention, if you look at the waterfront communities, this also factors in pieces of King West and it factors in City Place. So both of those areas from a price point perspective are quite different. It's really important to pinpoint, for example, King Street from Bathurst to Spadina may be performing different than from Spadina to University. And down in City Place, different buildings performing differently than others. If we look at Niagara, up 0.4%. And as we go into University, down 2.2%. So every area definitely unique, and each price point varies from community. If we look at C08, down 1.7% as a whole. You can see Church Yonge corridor was leading the way. Other areas were up 1.3%, Cabbagetown and North Street. Jamestown up 1%, Regent Park up 1%. And then waterfront communities on the C08 side, which is, remember, east of Yonge, down 1.2%. I'd love to hear your comments on if you're surprised by how some of those numbers were different from micro markets and pockets in C01 as a whole. I'd also like to hear your thoughts on if there's one area that you thought would have done better than another. Also keep in mind that right now inventory is way up and we're seeing basically 1 in 4 condos sell these days. And it's something to keep in mind as we move forward into the winter months. If you're a buyer and you've been sitting on the sidelines waiting for things to slow down or waiting for a discount in price, prices have definitely come down since where they were at the peak in February, March. And right now we are seeing about 98% of list of sale price. And that's factoring in a price drop from February, March. It also presents a great opportunity to try and negotiate an even better price. So it's just something to think about on your end. If you have any questions, book in a call with me in the link in the description down below. And as always, hit that like and subscribe button and follow me on all social media at Michael Real Estate.